She slammed a paper on my door and shouted loud enough for the whole street to hear. "You're not allowed to park here anymore. This is HOA property." My hands tightened around the doorknob as I opened it, staring at the woman everyone whispered about, Karen, the so-called queen of the neighborhood. I told her calmly, "This is my driveway. You don't run this street." But before I could finish, she pulled out her phone and yelled, "If you don't move that truck, I'll call security. They'll tow it tonight." Her tone was sharp, fake authority dripping from every word. I thought she was bluffing, but that night headlights flashed across my bedroom window. I ran out and saw two men in cheap uniforms standing near my truck. One of them smirked. "HOA enforcement. Your car's in violation." My stomach sunk. Those weren't real cops, and their badges looked like they came from a dollar store. I stepped closer, but before I could say a word, one of them swung a metal baton down on my windshield. The glass cracked, shattering into a spiderweb of broken lines. Karen stood there at the curb, arms crossed, grinning like she'd just won. "That's what happens when you don't follow the rules," she sneered. My fists clenched, but I forced myself to stay still. Deep down, I knew something she didn't, and I almost smiled, because while she thought she'd humiliated me, she had no idea the cameras hidden around my property had caught every second. And those cameras weren't just for show. The next morning, the sun hadn't even risen fully when I heard heavy knocks on my door. I opened it to see two real police officers standing there, their cruiser lights flashing behind them. One of them said flatly, "Sir, we got a report of a violent homeowner threatening HOA security." I froze, then looked past them. Karen was on the sidewalk, waving her arms like she was directing traffic. She shouted, "That's him! He tried to attack the officers last night. He's dangerous!" I couldn't believe it. She had flipped the whole story. My voice stayed calm, though my chest was burning inside. "Officers, before you listen to her, you should know something. Those men weren't officers, and I never touched anyone." The taller cop frowned, clearly unsure, but Karen jumped in. "Don't listen to him. He hides weapons in his house. I saw it myself." The audacity of her lies almost made me laugh. The officers looked ready to step inside, and that's when I played my hand. "Gentlemen," I said, pointing toward the porch corner, "you might want to see this first." I pulled out my phone, opened the live feed from my security cameras, and tapped play. The footage rolled clearly, the fake cops smashing my windshield, Karen standing there, smiling. The cops leaned closer to the screen. One muttered, "That's not department-issued gear. Who the hell are these guys?" Karen's smirk cracked just a little, her face paling as the truth hit the air, but she still tried to bark back. "That video is fake. He made it up." I looked her dead in the eye and whispered, "Funny thing is, one of those guys used to work with me, and he doesn't even know who we messed with." Karen's eyes twitched when I said that, like she knew she'd just stepped into something bigger than her games. One of the officers asked sharply, "Wait, what do you mean he used to work with you?" I took a slow breath, keeping my voice steady. "I served in the military police. That man in your video, he washed out of training after lying about his record. He's not only impersonating law enforcement, he's breaking federal law." The shorter officer shifted uncomfortably, glancing at Karen. "Ma'am, did you hire these men?" She stumbled over her words. I didn't hire anyone. They're official. They said they were with the HOA security team." Her voice cracked, but she still pushed the lie, desperate to hold her fake crown. I walked down the steps toward my busted truck, the broken glass still glittering in the driveway. My chest tightened seeing it. Years of work to buy that truck, and one swing of a baton had left it ruined. I pressed my hand against the hood, then looked back at the officers. This is what she calls HOA enforcement, destroying property in the middle of the night, threatening families? Karen snapped, her face red. "You don't belong in this neighborhood. You people think you can just—" She cut herself off when she noticed the officer's eyes narrowing at her words. The taller cop suddenly straightened and said firmly, "Ma'am, step back, right now." But Karen wasn't done. She pulled a crumpled paper from her purse and waved it at me. "I've got the notice! This proves you violated HOA rules!" She shoved it toward the officers, but when they unfolded it, I saw the corner logo peeling like it had been printed at home. One officer shook his head slowly. "This isn't an official document. This is fraud." And in that moment, Karen finally realized she wasn't the one holding power anymore. Karen's hand trembled as the officer held the fake paper between two fingers like trash. "Fraud?" she whispered, her voice breaking, but then, as quick as a snake, she snapped back. "No, he forged it, not me. He's setting me up." She jabbed her finger toward me, her nails shaking. I didn't move. I just unlocked my phone again and swiped to another camera angle, one from the mailbox. On screen, clear as daylight, Karen could be seen late at night slipping the very same notice onto my door. The officers leaned in, silent, watching her own face glow from the phone light as she taped it there. The shorter cop exhaled. "That's enough for us." He reached for his radio, but Karen bolted backward, nearly tripping over the curb. "You don't understand. This neighborhood needs order. If people like him stay here, everything will fall apart." Her voice was shrill, desperate, but also filled with something darker. Fear. I stepped closer, keeping my tone low, almost calm. "Karen, you called fake cops to smash my car. You filed a false police report, and now you're caught forging HOA documents." I let the silence stretch before finishing. "You really thought nobody would notice?" Her lips pressed into a thin line, and then with a sudden rage she screamed, "You think you've won? This is my street. I run this place." She tried to snatch the paper back from the officer's hands, but he twisted her arm down effortlessly. The taller cop looked at me and said, "Sir, we'll handle her, but